Yeah.
Hello.
And how are you?
Oh, you're all like high def, high res. From a makeshift podcast studio in my house, I'm Mia Friedman, and you're listening to a check-in episode of No Filter, where I call up someone to find out how they're doing in this really weird time. Today, it's Osher Gunsberg, and my goodness, he's had quite the year. I last spoke to Osher on No Filter about a year ago when he was releasing his book. It was a memoir. And in it, he detailed a pretty harrowing story about his mental health, including a bout of psychosis and near paralysing anxiety around climate change. And when the bushfires happened over Christmas and in early January, and talk in the community and in politics talk to climate change, a lot of people actually said to me, "Hey, how's Osher doing? How's Osher doing?" People were worried about Osher. And in this interview, I asked him that question, and you may be surprised by the answer. I know I certainly was. Osh and his partner, Audrey, had a baby called Wolfie a little while ago, a few months ago, and now they're a family of 4, along with Audrey's teenage daughter from a previous marriage. And Osher had been 3 weeks into shooting the new season of The Bachelor when the decision was taken by Channel 10 to close down production and clear out the Bachelor mansion and send everyone home to socially isolate. I asked him about that and about life as a new dad and, of course, about anxiety. Here's Osher. Hey, my friend, how are you?
Honestly, Mia, I wake up every morning at this extraordinary time in history. I don't have enough space to be so grateful that I am in this country and that we have universal health care, that we have a government who is taking it very, now they are taking it very, very seriously, that they are putting into place extraordinary economic measures. Like you said this 6 months ago, and now you've brought in free childcare. Like never in history would they have ever done that, because they knew what would happen to them as they came into the election. That would be the ad that the other party would run. But now they're like, no, we have to do this because people are more important than profit right now. And it's probably a painful lesson for a lot of people in power to go, oh, right, so this is what they were talking about, why childcare being free is good for the economy. Right. And so that national telehealth available to everybody, distance education is incredible, and what's essentially universal basic income. Like in the last month, I cannot believe this, the socialist paradise we've kind of, come into. And, I think about other countries in the world that aren't set up like we are. Yeah, this is going to affect everyone awfully all around the world. It really is. And yet we have running water. The power's still on. The fridge still works. The food supply's still there. Yeah, it's weird. We feel like we're in the Hunger Games going to the cornucopia when we're trying to get groceries. But, they're there. It's not like we've run out of groceries. There's plenty of food, I don't know if my industry is even going to exist at the end of the year, Yeah. I know they're working very, very hard trying to make sure that it does. And, they're working day and night to make sure we're not shooting Bachelor. We're not shooting anything.
So tell me about that. How does reality TV work into the future? You recorded a few episodes of Bachelor, a few weeks.
We shut down. We had to, for the safety of everybody. We do play, and I've said this before a squillion times, the drama is a part of why people watch our show. Make no mistake, we work very, very hard to make sure everybody is safe physically, mentally, to be when they're on our shows. We have an extraordinary team of, not only occupational health and safety people that make sure, going to make something up like a whitewater rafting date or something. There's people everywhere to make sure no one gets hurt. And similarly, there's people who are there to offer psychological support. And so the health and well-being of the people that come on our show and our crew is it's paramount. And so it was pretty weird, the last few days when we were wondering how we're going to do it or what we're going to do. But then essentially the call got made for us, and that was it. I don't know what's going to happen. We're figuring it out. Yeah, we shot Back to Paradise is shot. We did that in November. So we've got one in hand, but I don't know when they're going to air it.
Tell me about life at home in lockdown for you. What's your day-to-day routine like?
Well, we have a 7-month-old baby, so the word routine is currently somewhat, his teeth are threatening to breach, and they have been for about 6 weeks. So we're in the state where he's just, still kind of waking up at 3 a.m, just angry, hungry. He's massive, Mia. He's huge. And I know Audrey won't mind me saying this because it's a thing that happens quite a bit. Because he's so big, her hands, her arms are very painful. Because when she's nursing him, when she's holding him, and so it's like when she was pregnant. There's not enough pillows to prop him up when it's feeding time because
is she still breastfeeding and that's going okay?
Yeah. She is. Like, we got onto a little bit of formula about 2 weeks ago, just once a day, just so we could, because he's just so hungry.
But he'd be on solids too now, right? Can't you just give him a chop?
He's on. I was feeding him avocado on toast today. The dogs circle around like reef sharks in a Jacques Cousteau film below the baby chair, which is always funny. But yeah, most of it goes in his mouth. So yeah, he's on solids and he's digging it, but he's all right. But he's got these weird sleep habits that we're trying to get ahead of at the moment, which is not uncommon. It happens to everybody. And if it didn't, you're awesome. Good for you. And I'm thrilled for you and your baby. But for us, it's like, okay, it's 3 a.m. and Wolfie wants to party, and just like attacking the boob. He's starting to lunge across the bed at it now. So he knows how to get at it. He pushes himself up, and it's pretty wild. But it's great. Our routine is like, I don't know, I'll generally get up around, Wolf's up early. I'll generally get up around 6:30 or whatever after about an hour of lying in bed with him, and I'll take him right up to the morning nap about 9, so Audrey can sleep. And then G's starts school at 8:20. I think they have roll call. She's doing it on the laptop at the moment. Normally what we try and do is Wolf and I, while we're eating breakfast, I'll FaceTime my friends in America, or my brother and his husband in America. And so we can have some connection time there. We have I try to talk to at least one person for 15 or 20 minutes every day, someone that's not in my family, just to check in on something. My neighbor, we live in a duplex, and my neighbor, he comes around a couple of times a week, and we stand on either side of my backyard, and there's some kettlebells that only he touches, and there's the kettlebells that I touch, and then we train together and we have a chat. Great fella, and that's really nice to be able have a chat and connect with him. And then I don't know, I'll come down and prep for podcasts. I've basically built a studio downstairs at our house. I've still got my podcast. There's still 2 podcasts every week. I'm ramping up to do season 2 of Dad Pod with Charlie Clausen, so we're going to record that pretty soon. So we're doing a lot of research around that. And we're also having dinner together, which is really nice. And then we try to have a show that all of us watch, which is a trick when you've got a 16-year-old that you can all be into. She's
any tips?
Well, she just finished Elite, which is a Spanish teen drama. I think we got ripped off. I'm so old. I got a show called Degrassi Junior High, which is like, oh my God, I can't believe he had sex with Tait then. But this is all like in Spanish, and some girl's 16 and she does coke with a real estate developer and has a threesome with him, her best friend, and then they fight about it at school the next day. And this is a teenage show for Europe.
My God, that's a lot.
So yeah. G finished that. She finished all three seasons.
My kids won't watch anything with me that has any kind of sexual content because they just get too embarrassed.
Fair enough.
They'll just have to leave the room. They're just like, I can't do this.
Well, we wrapped up Tiger King the other day, just aghast like everybody else, I'm sure. And and then it's kind of bed around 10 or 11 o'clock.
Well, with absolutely no segue, how's your anxiety?
It's actually. It's actually pretty good. I was off meds for a long time, and then right around before Wolfie was born, it was pretty evident that I was not coping. And, like any person that has gone off meds, but then I wrote a book about getting off meds and I did a live show about getting off meds. I didn't want to admit that I needed to get back on meds, and I just was gritting my teeth, but it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And Audrey just looked at me one day. She was about 7 months pregnant, and she said, I'm going to need you around. You got to go talk to a psychiatrist, and you need to get back on meds. And I know enough to know that it's trying to think about my brain using the same brain to think about it means I don't get a straight answer. All right. So
do you mean when you say that trying to decide whether you should go back on meds or not when you need to go back on meds is a really hard decision to make because you're not equipped?
I wrote a song about it for the show that we did, and it's a jingle, so you don't forget it. It goes, don't make a decision about taking medication when you've got a brain that needs medication to make a good decision about taking medication. That's not a good decision. Dum, dum, ba-dum, dum. So I had to trust Audrey. And I was like, well, if she needs to get back on meds, clearly I need to get back on meds. So 2 days later, I was sitting in my psychiatrist's office and going, mate, Adam, I've got to get back on the gear. What have you got? And so we found something where the side effect profile wasn't as bad as the stuff I'd been on before. There was a lot of weight gain and sexual side effects with the other stuff, which is, it's nice not to be crazy. It's not nice to be fat and frigid. So it was not, we found some new drugs to try and they've been working out really well, but that's only one part of it, Mia. So, you know, it's the same with physical health, right? If I ate nothing but fast food, never, ever, ever did any exercise and sat in front of the TV the whole time, I would put on weight and I would start to have some pretty heavy, you know, health-related issues popping up, some lifestyle-related diseases showing up. Same. If I don't take But on the other hand, if I eat right, if I train every day and I look after how much sleep I'm getting, I will have good physical health. I might even fit into my nice pants. You know, I might even look a bit, you know, better when I'm naked in the mirror, but that's not what matters. It's that I've got this physical health, but it needs to be maintained every day. Similarly, my mental health, I need to maintain it every day. So thankfully, the physical part and the mental part go together. So I do my best to train every day. I do my best to eat right as much as I can. I try and sleep as best I can, even when we've got a baby in the room. And I try to be of service to people every day. And that includes, you know, checking with people on the phone or talking to someone or, you know, seeing if my neighbour needs anything from the shops or passing a toilet roll over the fence or whatever it is that I need to do to make sure that I'm caring about someone else that's not me. And so putting all those things in place is actually kind of helping. And then there's this kind of whole underlying thing of, because climate anxiety is my thing, right? Because it's the most important and pressing issue that you or I or anybody alive on this earth will ever face. It's going to make the effects of climate change are going to make coronavirus look like your neighbour backed into your wheelie bin and now you've got a few takeaway containers flopping around your driveway. Oh, bloody hell, you got to pick them up. And that's what this whole epidemic's like when we look back on it compared to the unchecked effects.
So corona's not stressing you? Corona's not making you feel anxious?
Not a bit.
Interesting.
Because, Mia, it is a global, immediately effective, apolitical, social and economic problem that every government on the planet is having to cooperate with each other in order to fix it. Okay?
So like a reset.
Like a reset. And this is you know, you said you'd never put, social issues before the economy, ScoMo. Looks like that's not exactly the case when the rubber meets the road, is it? And so, you know, it's an opportunity to go, well, deep in their hearts, people on the conservative side of politics actually do. Yes, it's hard to make a decision where income is affected and money is affected and the national debt is affected. But ultimately, you're making a decision that the people are more important. The people of this country are more important than anything, really.
So that's given you hope and quelled some of your anxiety.
It's given me hope to be like, well, you know, let's use this newfound cooperation. And also, it's also, you know, to tackle things like climate change, but it's also people's, you know, own life. I 100% feel like, bear in mind, I'm super privileged, all right? I know that. But I spoke to people who, like, I spoke to a bloke the other day, I met in the park, I've known him for a little bit. He owns a restaurant, and he goes, I had to fire everyone. I lost my lease. I've got no job. I've never been happier. Oh. All I do is I cook great food. I hang out with my family. I don't need to buy anything except food. I'm happy in the clothes I'm in. Life's amazing.
It certainly narrows your focus, doesn't it?
I think it's giving us as a community an opportunity to go, well, hang on a second. I've been told this whole time that buying shit makes me happy. But clearly it doesn't, because now I can't, you know, now I can't buy shit. I'm discovering that going for a walk with the kids is actually pretty good. Helping out my neighbor, leaving a baked treat on someone's front porch. It's actually pretty good. seeing if the neighbor needs some groceries. Are you all right? Can I get you something? It actually makes you feel that's lasting happiness, Mia. And as a community, I really feel we're starting to, it's been forced upon us, but start to go, okay, then maybe this whole endless consumption isn't what we need as a community to be able to survive. Because, that's the other thing is, so now you're listening to scientists. Oh, I see. Now you're looking at graphs that are going off the scale in an exponential curve. And now you're worrying. Okay, here's a similar graph of a similar shape. Check the temperature. Okay, can you listen to that one, please? So I really feel that this is an opportunity for us to perhaps see that, explore new ways of working. There's another buddy of mine, and this is all anecdotal, but there's another buddy of mine. Right before this happened in January, he got an office of 30 people. He's like, man, I'm going to have to find a new office. I had to change my meeting room I have to put 5 desks in there. He's doing really well. But in these last few weeks, he's like, I don't have to now because I've been able to hire people from other states to work remotely. We're suddenly deciding, and bosses are being kind of forced into this idea of, okay, everyone's going to have to work home. I'm just going to have to trust that they'll get it done. And they are. And it's okay. Sure, there's a lot more barking dogs in your morning wrap up. That's fine.
I like that.
it's incredible.
I love your optimism and your positivity. I think that's really it's a good thing to take away, because sometimes people say to me, hey, how's Osher going? Because, you and I, not everyone speaks about their anxiety, but you've spoken really openly and honestly about yours, and I've spoken about mine. So a lot of people were checking in on me because my thing is health anxiety and like, hey, how you going? And people often say to me, with the bushfires, people were wanting to know how you were. How's Osher going?
I'll tell you how I was, and this is kind of almost perverse. I was actually okay because for the first time, I saw in other people's eyes the horror of suddenly realizing, oh, fuck, oh shit, this is where we are. And I was like, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Yes, this is where we are. This is bushland being burned so badly that the entire undergrowth has been sterilized to the base rock and nothing will grow back because of climate change. And you are now realizing that this is just the start of it. Here we are. Right, now let's do something. And
so you felt like it wasn't just up to you to be sounding the alarm.
Yeah. It was weird. It was super weird to, like anybody in Australia waking up and having their eyes sting with smoke and the backyard's covered in ash and knowing I'm 84 kilometres from the fire line.
Yeah, and it's like, guys, I've been saying this for a while now. I'm not making it up.
But it's not. But it wasn't that. It was the feeling of, oh, good, I'm not in this alone. This is like, I really, but like between this and, I mean, the Ukraine's on fire right now. Parts of the Ukraine are burning, which it shouldn't, but it is. And, we've got to think about this. We're not even 6 months away from another bushfire season. How are you going to do a community shelter when you can't be in the same room as other people? I look at it like this, Mia. So it still sucks. I know it's still bad. I still have horrible, horrible days. And the other day I read that there was a heat wave in Antarctica. It was 21 degrees in Antarctica, which as far as I know is probably about 20 more degrees than it should be. Okay. And I started reading up about the Western Antarctic ice sheet. You hear we have to keep global warming under 1.5 degrees. Now, that's a number they've not plucked out of thin air, because at 1.5 degrees higher than pre-industrial levels, that's where they expect the West Antarctic ice sheet to collapse. There is enough water in the ice of the West Antarctic ice sheet, which sits above the ocean, not in the ocean. Ice in the ocean doesn't make the ocean go up and down. It's like ice in your glass doesn't make the glass go up and down when it melts. There's enough water above the ice in the ocean, above that, to raise the surface level of the sea 3.3 meters very, very quickly. That would be cataclysmic. Okay, so I found that out about this heat wave, and it was just a kick in the perineum. It was fucking bad. And, but I knew what I had to do.
Nobody wants a kick in the perineum.
No, but what can I do? Well, I can't change the world. I can change a nappy. I can look after this baby. I can take out the rubbish. I can get on a podcast and I can talk about it. I can email some people that I know that work in the climate space and go, is there anything you need? Can I amplify anything you're doing? Is there anything I can do to help you? I can go and donate to where I need to donate. And then I can do my part around the house and try as hard as I can to be, well, that indeed may happen, but I am not living in 2024. I'm not living in 2030. I'm not living in 2050. I'm here today with Audrey, with G, with Wolf, with Licky and Darky, and this is where we are right here in this very moment. This is what my feet feel like in my shoes. This is what my legs feel like in my pants. This is what my body feels like in my shirt. This is the smell of the dinner. That's the sound of the birds outside. Okay. And then that's really all I can do. So I do still, my skill set of managing is a lot better, but it doesn't not hurt. So very, very quickly, Mia, just to wrap up, I know you have to go, but so I just got 10 years of sobriety. Okay. And
Mazel tov. Congratulations.
Well, it's just a day at a time. All right. But people, when I was drinking, my life kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. A life of addiction is a life of restriction. A life of recovery is a life of expansion. Okay. Since I stopped drinking, my life has just gotten so much bigger. And that's even after getting divorced and losing a house and whatever else happened to me. My life is so big, I could not have described it to you in the days and weeks after I stopped drinking. So I similarly believe that where we are right now with our addiction to fossil fuels, we're living in this life of restriction, okay? As soon as we get past that and realize that there is a recovery and then there is a pathway out of this, the abundance that is available to us will make, what we think having everything right now, it'll make it look like some sort of weird austerity that happened after World War I in some Eastern European country. Like, there's a lot ahead of us. And so I would say that, there is expansion and there is abundance ahead of us. But there is we're learning right now how to be with the difficult times, and that's an important thing.
I love you for your wisdom and for your unexpected positivity. This has really made me feel great.
I'm at your service, Mia. Good luck with your meeting.
Thanks,
I love
beautiful
to everyone.
friend.
You're doing good work.
Send my love to you girls and to Wolfie.
You got it.
Bye. This is actually the third time that I've talked to Osher on No Filter, and our conversations are always really popular. So if you want more Osher, and who doesn't, let's be honest, we'll link to those previous interviews in the show notes. And if you, like Osher and me, suffer from anxiety, you might like to take a look at the online course about anxiety that Mamma Mia has released in partnership with psychologist Amanda Gordon. She is the most calming and reassuring guide, and she conducts this online program that might just help you during this very tough time and far beyond. We'll link in the show notes, or you can just go to theanxietycourse.com. Wherever you are right now and however you're feeling, please know that I am thinking of you and sending lots of love.